The golden age of Hollywood gave us some of the most memorable stars, but there were darker, more sinister truths behind the bright lights and glitzy exteriors. What if I told you that some of the biggest names and the business icons you know and love kept nasty secrets from you? Prepare to learn the truth about the artists who are just pretending to be bad guys. Watch this space for a list of the worst stars from the golden age of Hollywood. Kirk Douglas. During Hollywood's golden age, Kirk Douglas was one of the most famous stars. He was known for his powerful roles in movies like Spartacus and Paths of Glory. Even so, Douglas's life outside of acting was not always smooth. Recently, claims that he raped actress Natalie Wood when she was a teenager have come up again. This was something that was never officially handled while he was alive. The details are still unknown, but the accusations have made his legacy less bright. Douglas was also known for having a strong attitude that could be tough to work with. He was very picky and had a reputation for being hard to please, which sometimes caused problems with directors and co-stars. Even with these problems, Douglas is still a famous figure in Hollywood history, but these darker sides of his life make his impact more difficult to understand. Errol Flynn. As the main man in movies like The Adventures of Robin Hood and Captain Blood, Errol Flynn was the perfect example of a Hollywood star. He was good-looking, charismatic, and daring, but his life outside of movies was much less dramatic. Because Flynn was known for being wild and breaking the law, he was called the most wicked man in the world. Flynn was charged with statutory rape in 1942 by two teenage girls, Betty Hansen and Peggy Satterley. They said the star had raped them at Hollywood parties. Flynn was found not guilty, but the trial hurt his reputation, and many people thought he got away with it because he was famous and had a lot of strong connections in Hollywood. The fact that Flynn dated young girls was always known, and his love life was a scandal until he died in 1959. Flynn's book, My Wicked, Wicked Ways, which came out after he had died, showed more of his careless and often immoral behavior, such as using drugs, sleeping with other women, and not caring about other people. His good looks on screen hid the fact that he was highly troubled and had mixed morals, which made Flynn one of the darker figures of Hollywood's golden age. Mickey Rooney. Mickey Rooney was a child star who became one of the most famous actors of all time. He was loved for his parts in the Andy Hardy series and other kids' movies. But Rooney's real life was nothing like the good guy he played on TV and in movies. He was married 8 times, and there was a lot of trouble and scandal in his partnerships. Martha Vickers, his third wife, said he abused her physically, and the news talked a lot about it at the time. Rooney was also known for living an extravagant life, which included gaming and sleeping with multiple women. This caused him financial problems despite having a long and successful career. During his later years, he had problems with debt and was accused of elder abuse, which made him look even worse than he already did. Raymond Burr. Ray Burr was one of the most loved stars on TV. He was best known for playing Perry Mason in Ironside. Before he became famous on TV, though, Burr's life was full of lies and secrets. Even though he seemed good and honest on TV, there were rumors about his personal life, including claims that he was abusive. Burr was known to make up stories about his past, like saying he was a war hero and that his wife and child had died tragically. These stories were subsequently proven to be false. His tendency to put on a false persona even showed in how he treated other people, with reports of abusive relationships and a controlling personality that were very different from how he appeared on screen. Burr's private life remained a mystery. There was never any solid proof that he had done anything wrong, but the differences between his public persona and private deeds made people wonder what kind of person he really was. Burr was able to keep up his image despite the rumors, which shows how powerful Hollywood's star-making machine was. It often protected its own at the cost of the truth. Faye Dunaway. Faye Dunaway is one of the most praised actors of her time. She became famous in movies like Bonnie and Clyde and Chinatown near the end of Hollywood's golden age. People in Hollywood, on the other hand, say that Dunaway was rude and often abusive on set, which has hurt her image. She was known for being very picky, and her need to be perfect often caused problems with directors, co-stars, and crew members. When Dunaway played Joan Crawford in the movie Mommy Dearest, one of the most famous things that happened to her happened. People like how she played the crazy and abusive Crawford, but Dunaway reportedly got so into the part that her behavior on set became more like that of her character, which caused a lot of problems. Dunaway has had a reputation for being hard to work with her whole career, which made her ability stand out less. Orson Welles. People think that Orson Welles was one of the best directors ever, especially for Citizen Kane, which was a big step forward in the movie business. Welles was known for having a volatile nature and having trouble getting along with people he worked with. He was very smart, but he was also cocky and wouldn't give in, which caused a lot of problems with company executives, actors, and producers. Welles' work was marked by a number of unfinished projects, money problems, and fights with people in Hollywood. Because he didn't follow the rules of the business and was often rude, he was a controversial figure in it. Wells is admired as a genius, but he also had some darker sides. For example, he was manipulative and used other people to further his artistic goals. These traits make him a more complicated and sometimes unsettling person. Fatty Arbuckle. The fallen comedy of Fatty Arbuckle during the silent film era, King Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle was one of the most loved comedic stars. People liked him because he seemed innocent and clumsy on screen. He was one of the best-paid stars of his time. Arbuckle's success fell apart, though, when he was accused of raping and killing Virginia Rapp, an aspiring actress, at a wild party in San Francisco in 1921. Following the trial, it turned into one of the first big Hollywood scandals. The news media made the facts very shocking and made Arbuckle look like a monster. Even though Arbuckle was found not guilty after 3 cases, the damage to his career could not be fixed. A story brought to light the darker, more hedonistic side of Hollywood. Often, excess and moral decay were hidden behind the glamorous front. Even though he was found not guilty, most people still didn't like Arbuckle, and his movies couldn't be shown in theaters. The scandal not only ended Arbuckle's career, but it also made Hollywood's moral standards tighter, and the Hays Code was made to stop future scandals like this one. An important lesson from Arbuckle's story is how quickly a well-liked person can lose favor when their evil sides are revealed. Peter Lorre. With his creepy voice and distinctive bug-eyed look, Peter Lorre became known for playing scary parts in movies like M and The Maltese Falcon. But the actor had a difficult personal life full of drug abuse and questionable behavior, which matched how creepy he was on screen. Lorre was known for giving intense performances, usually as characters who were truly troubled or evil. Off-screen, he had a terrible addiction to morphine, which he started taking to deal with long-term pain. His drug habit made him act strangely, with violent outbursts and feelings of paranoia. Lorre's addiction also led to reports that he was involved with the bad side of Hollywood, including having ties to criminals. Even though Lorre never had a public incident like some of the other people on this list, his personal problems were well known in the business. His fall into addiction and the damage it did to his work and relationships show the sad side of Hollywood's golden age, when many stars struggled with the stresses of fame and the bad habits that came with it. Charlie Chaplin. People all over the world love Charlie Chaplin and his beloved character, the Tramp. He is one of the most famous people in film history. However, Chaplin's real life was nothing like the good guy he played on TV. His relationships with much younger women, often teenage ones, and his tendency to be controlling and manipulative make him look like a much scarier person. It was well known that Chaplin had relationships with young girls. His marriage to Lita Grey, who was 16, was one of the most scandalous. Later, Grey talked about the emotional and mental abuse she went through while they were married. She called Chaplin a demanding and manipulative husband who took advantage of her youth and innocence. In the 1940s, Chaplin's reputation took a further hit when he was involved in a paternity suit and accused of having communist sympathies. This made him less famous in the US. Chaplin's personal life shows a darker side to one of Hollywood's most famous figures, one that makes the story of his genius more complicated. His work lives on, though. Subscribe now and uncover the untold stories of Hollywood's golden age where the real drama happened off-screen.